Europe's auto industry is at war with itself. In one corner, you have over 150 EV leaders, including heavy hitters like Volvo and Polestar, screaming at the EU to hold the line on its 2035 ban of new gas-powered cars. In the other corner, legacy giants like Mercedes-Benz, who just 2 weeks ago told the exact same officials that the 2035 target is, quote, no longer feasible. This isn't just about emissions. It's a high-stakes battle for the soul of the European car market, with billions of dollars and global dominance on the line. So is this a legitimate cry for help from an industry in crisis, or a calculated move to protect old profits while China prepares to eat their lunch? And what does a bombshell new report reveal about who's really falling behind? We're breaking it all down. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on the global EV revolution, make sure you're subscribed to Electric Vehicle Empire. You won't want to miss this. All right, let's get straight to it. The battle lines have been drawn in Brussels, and the future of mobility in Europe hangs in the balance. On September 12th, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is sitting down with automotive leaders for a talk that could either supercharge Europe's green transition or slam the brakes on it entirely. And folks, the tension is thicker than battery sludge. Just this week, a powerful coalition of 150 executives from the EV sector sent an urgent letter to Brussels. We're talking about the CEOs of major players like Volvo Cars and Polestar. Their message was crystal clear. Do not back down from the 2035 zero-emission target for new cars and vans. Why? They argue that any hesitation, any delay, sends a catastrophic signal to the market. Michael Lochscheller, the CEO of Polestar, put it bluntly. Weakening targets now would send a signal that Europe can be talked out of its own commitments. He continued, that would not only harm the climate, it would harm Europe's ability to compete. And he's pointing directly at the elephant in the room, China. These EV leaders see the 2035 goal not as a burden, but as a critical catalyst. It forces innovation, secures investment in battery plants and charging infrastructure, and creates a stable, predictable market. If the EU wobbles, all that investor confidence could evaporate overnight. Global rivals, particularly Chinese manufacturers who have gone all in on electrification, would see it as a golden opportunity to flood the market and undercut a hesitant European industry. It's a powerful argument. Stick to the plan or risk becoming a technological backwater dependent on foreign imports for the cars of the future. But that's only half the story. Just 2 weeks before this pro-EV letter landed, a very different message was sent to President von der Leyen. This one came from the old guard, the European Automotive Manufacturers and Suppliers Associations, and it had the heavyweight signature of Mercedes-Benz CEO Ola K. Linnaeus. Their letter dropped a bombshell. They claimed that a 100% reduction in emissions by 2035, which is just a technical way of saying an all-EV market, was, quote, no longer feasible. Let's pause on that word, unfeasible. This isn't just some small startup complaining. This is Mercedes-Benz, a pillar of German engineering, a symbol of European automotive prowess. When they say something is unfeasible, people listen. They're essentially arguing that the transition is too fast, the challenges are too great, and the market isn't ready. And they're not alone. Antonio Filosa, the CEO of Stellantis, the conglomerate that owns brands like Jeep, Ram, Peugeot, and Fiat, has been calling for more flexibility. He's pushing the EU to support hybrid technologies as a bridge. His argument is that getting people out of old polluting cars now and into efficient hybrids would have a bigger immediate impact on CO2 emissions than waiting for them to afford a pure EV later. It sounds reasonable on the surface, but critics see it as a delaying tactic, a way to keep their profitable combustion engine and transmission factories running for as long as possible. So you have this fundamental clash. The EV purists who say, full speed ahead or we lose to China, versus the legacy titans who say, slow down, this is unrealistic, let's embrace a middle ground. So who's right? To figure that out, we need to look at the data, and this is where the plot thickens.
A brand new study was just published by Transport and Environment, or T&E, a highly respected European research group. They ran the numbers to see if European car makers are actually on track to meet the EU's emission targets for 2025-2027, which are the crucial stepping stones to the big 2035 goal. The results are staggering. According to T&E, all major European car makers, with one exception, are on track to meet their 2025-2027 targets. Volkswagen, Stellantis, BMW, Renault, all of them are set to comply without a problem. So who's the one exception? You guessed it, Mercedes-Benz. The very company whose CEO signed the letter saying the targets are unfeasible is the only one projected to miss them. The report suggests Mercedes would need to pool its emissions with a cleaner fleet, like that of Volvo and Polestar, just to avoid billions in fines. This changes the entire narrative. Is the 2035 goal truly unfeasible for the industry, or is it just unfeasible for Mercedes-Benz's current strategy? It raises the uncomfortable question, is the industry's most prestigious player asking for a rule change for everyone because they are failing to keep pace themselves? The T&E report also forecasts that battery electric vehicle sales in the EU will surge past a 30% market share by 2027, up from 18% this year. The momentum is clearly there. The demand is growing. So why the cold feet from the old guard? The answer again comes back to competition, and specifically China. While European giants debate and delay, Chinese brands are not waiting. Brands like BYD, NIO, and XPeng are already here, and they are expanding aggressively. The EU tried to put up a firewall. In October of 2024, they slapped a hefty 35% tariff on EV imports from China to protect their domestic industry. But here's the genius or terrifying part of China's strategy. BYD is already one step ahead. They're reportedly escaping these tariffs by exporting cars to Europe from their brand new factory in Thailand. This is a geopolitical chess move. China is not just exporting cars, it's exporting its entire supply chain. By building factories in other countries, they can bypass trade barriers and integrate themselves into the global market in a way that's incredibly difficult to stop. Every month that European legacy automakers spend debating the feasibility of their own targets is another month that BYD and others gain a stronger foothold on their home turf. The EV leaders who wrote that letter understand this. They know this is a race. And a race isn't won by asking the officials to move the finish line further away because you're out of breath. So this meeting in Brussels is more than just a talk. It's a moment of truth for Europe. Will Ursula von der Leyen listen to the innovators who are ready to race, who are meeting the targets, and who see the clear and present danger of foreign competition? Or will she listen to the legacy giants who, according to the data, seem to be asking for a delay to cover for their own slow progress? The choice they make will define the next decade of the global auto industry. A decision to weaken the 2035 target might feel like a relief for some companies in the short term, but it could be a fatal act of self-sabotage in the long run, essentially handing the keys to the future to their most aggressive competitors. What do you think? Is Mercedes playing chess while everyone else plays checkers, or are they simply falling behind and trying to change the rules? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. It's a pivotal moment, and we'll be watching closely to see what comes out of that meeting. The empire of the future will be electric, but who will build it is being decided right now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay plugged into the electric vehicle empire. We'll see you in the next one.